Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel on this cold and crappy day. Today's episode is basically going to be a little bit about outlooks on fixing things and common misconceptions, mainly one that you always hear. So, I found these two steels in the garbage can right next to my house. My neighbors just threw them away. They didn't want them. And me and my buddy kind of messed around with them a little bit, and we got them both to run. This one's had, decades old gas in it, and this one, well, my buddy, he hates this one because it's so ugly. This one, the primer bulb broke, and clearly it's missing some things up top. So I held on to them for a little while after we got them running because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with them. I was pretty sure I was going to blow them up, but being that they're steels, they're older steels at that, I figured they might have a little bit of quality to them, whether they're ugly or not. This guy right here is the FS75. There goes my vice grip. And the other one, the ugly beehive, is the FS36. Now, not really important to this other than what I'm holding in my hand here, which is the replacement head. I walked into the service saw at my old hometown, not where I'm living now, but where I used to live, with my dad. We were replacing a part for one of his steels, and it's a steel dealership, basically. And the old guy there, who I really don't care for because he always has a stick up his butt about every little thing, was at the counter, of course, and he knows an awful lot because he's an old dude that's been working on these things for ages. So I ran across these two models and told him I found them. They were in the garbage can, but I was able to get them to run again, yada yada. And he tells me, well, those heads, because I told him I was missing at least one, he was telling me those are really cheap. Now, at the time, I was looking on eBay, and I kept finding these damn things for like 60 bucks, and I couldn't justify spending that. So I told him that, and his eyes got big, and he said, I got one on the shelf, and sure enough, he did. 24 bucks, right? So, naturally, I'm right there. I decide, okay, I'll buy it. He tells me, right as I'm making this purchase, you'll spend more money trying to fix those old ones than you will on a brand new one. And that brings us to today's lesson. This is absolutely not true. Like I said before, both of these run, okay? That one's got a busted primer bulb. That's like a dollar part, 50 cents, a dollar. It takes a little bit of time to get into it and replace it off the carburetor. Not a big deal. This guy, I don't even know if the head's actually damaged, to be honest with you. It may actually work. My neighbors may not be aware that these 11.2 heads take the specific diameter line. I think it's 80 if I remember right, and that's why it's green, because that's the only diameter for that gauge. I don't think there's any generics out there. If there is, forgive me. But anyway, the point in the lesson is simple. No, you will not spend more fixing a weed whacker that runs versus buying a brand new one. A similar, comparable weed whacker, and I apologize for the massive amount of sound happening outside right now. It seems the city has decided to destroy the street right now. Anyway, it's most of these weed whackers I find on the shelf at those dealerships, $450, $500, and then they're not even as well built as they used to be. This is like an 80s to 90s, so it's got more metal in it and such. It's less Chinese than the new stuff now, so I don't understand. He's telling me that $450 is the amount of work I'm going to put into changing this. Well, I'm going to be honest with you, that's completely crap. Obviously, they were having some troubles getting this off. Now, I don't know why they were trying to take it off. Like I said, it could be damaged. It could be just fine, and they just weren't using the right line. I really don't know. What I do know is a vice grip is a tool that everybody should have. This is the first time I'm taking this off. Threading looks good. Oh my goodness, there you go. So, that took a few seconds. Pick the brand new part for $24. That's what they had written there. Obviously they don't supply these regularly or they wouldn't write it on a sticky note, but whatever. Take the part, slap it back on the shaft. Go ahead and take the brand new with its grooves cap right there and put it right back on. And there you go. Aside from just flushing this, fuel system out because it's full of varnish, running weed whacker, good quality, and I got it for the price of a new head. Now, as for this little guy, it's pretty ugly. We were gonna blow it up, but just because it's ugly doesn't mean it doesn't have a use. I may actually consider fixing this one up. I don't like that the shroud is destroyed, the guard. That kind of sucks, because I was actually considering just fixing it and selling it for a fair price. I may just take that cut head over there and, explore why they took it off real quick. Change out the primer bulb, and there you go. I got two weed whackers. They were both runners. I don't know why people would just throw it away. This is ultimately a lot better than what I've been using. Hold that thought. This is the Walmart special that I've been using. This thing is older than dirt at this point. It's also seen its share of problems. And the reason I'm featuring it is to show you that even this useless piece of crap I was able to make work for me. That's the whole reason that we retired it. The spline and head completely fell apart, and at the time when this happened, we weren't very big eBay people, so that was the end of that until I decided I needed it, revived it. And by the way, this works really well. I can do the entire property that I'm currently renting. I can do the whole entire edging with pretty much just one of these. Usually by the end of it I might lose it, or it might get too thin and I have to replace it, but it actually does a really good job. So I'm not saying that that's if you ever have a weed whacker that you desperately have to use, go get a hose clamp and just do what I did there. That works really well. But anyway, obviously this is a much better machine than that, but even that had its uses, and everything you're seeing right here, it's junk, but I just avoided $450 for a brand new one. And I don't care if these get, screwed up, because look at them. The whole buying brand new argument doesn't stop there. I bring this car up an awful lot, and I'm not going to ramble too much about it today. It's a little bit of a mess. I've been working on it lately. I kind of keep my little trophy with me. Let's see if I can find it. Where it has rolled itself today. Oh, there it is. Of course I kept this because, that's not exactly something you want to throw away when you save the car. This is a real trophy right here. Number 3, you all know what happened to this car if you watched my previous videos. Basically, we ran over a log. I had many years of driving this old thing, and I just couldn't let it go. Blue deviled it. That didn't work out. Had to rebuild it. Bought a head. Dropped a valve seat. The whole time I did all that stuff, I had people telling me, why don't you just buy another car? Because, especially, and a lot of people suggested a new car, not just a regular used car, but a brand new car. Well, I'm going to be honest with you, between both rebuilds I did, and this current one is just fine because the valve seats are staked in place. They are correctly installed into that head now, so it's not going to drop one. So far, so good, right? Between both rebuilds, I had about, I'd say 800 or 900 into the first one. And the second one, $750. I'm not going to include the cost of a new computer because I didn't need it. So $750 with the machine work to fix that head, which looked as bad as this piston top did. You cannot find a car like this for $750. Yes, she's rough around the edges. Yes, there's some things that are still not pretty about it, but it's a cockroach. It keeps going, This is the kind of car that if someone hits the grocery cart against it, yeah, it sucks, but, it's had its share of jackass friends doing jackass things to it. So what I'm saying is, this is a car that'll get you through. Like, this is a daily driver. This is a beater. This is your, bread and butter, gets you to work, gets almost 40 miles to the gallon, still can find parts for it, and I didn't have to buy a brand new car that would have costed me $40,000, $50,000. I don't need the screens. I don't need the heated seats. She got power windows and AC. That's good enough. So I guess what I'm saying is that no, you will not always save money buying a brand new car. In fact, I don't think you'll ever save money buying a brand new car unless you plan to keep it for your whole entire life. But every year it seems these cars are getting cheaper and thinner. And I honestly do believe that some of the best cars, not for performance or style, but just for reliability, I think these generation of cars are probably your best bet. I mean, GM had great products, Ford had great products. They all had good products back in like the mid-90s. Same thing with the weed whackers. Why replace with a $450, $500 machine when all I needed was a $20 part? Now, everybody's experiences in life differ, so I can't really say that everything I'm saying is absolute. You might be that one person that always gets unlucky and gets the crappiest car possible, and you've spent more money than you should have on used cars. That's true that there's no shortage of lemons out there either. You have to be smart, but I just, it's from my experience that more times than not, when I've calculated what I've spent versus what I would have spent buying brand new, the brand new thing has a convenience price. I save money because I get my hands dirty. And some people out there will also say that, well, you have the means to do it. You have the space or the tools. If you've watched me rebuild these cars, you know that I don't necessarily work out of a shop. I work usually in the gravel, out in the weather. It's raining. It's the most miserable crap ever. It almost feels like working on stuff from like a period of war, like in some third world country, or with the cold, it almost has like that World War feeling to it. So I guess what I'm saying is that I'm not Superman. I didn't start knowing half of what I know now, or whatever. I'm just kind of rambling now. But most of what I've learned is just from the hands-on doing it. And speaking of which, I think this head is totally jammed up. I think that's why they threw the weed whacker away, because I can't get it to separate like how that one is. But that's fine. This guy's ready to go, and it's a good looking weed whacker, so I'm going to keep it. No reason not to. Well, I sat here and played with it for a little while, and she released. So there we go. I don't think it's busted. I think it just, I might even be able to make it work with a different gauge of wire. I don't think you're supposed to, but I'll bet I could probably force it to. So I've got something that's similar to 80 gauge that would probably work. But this guy needs a new primer bulb, so I'm going to probably go ahead and do that. And unfortunately, I don't have a long star, which I think you need to get into here. Damn steel with their stupid star bit. But yeah, I mean, like I was saying, and it's just my opinion, it's based on my experiences in life, but you don't always have to replace things just because they start to break. Sometimes you can fix it and infinitely save more money. Nobody starts with all the knowledge. I didn't start with all the knowledge. I still don't have all the knowledge. I didn't go to school for any of this stuff. I taught myself all this stuff. I had an interest. That's all there is to it. I didn't have the aptitude to go to school and learn about this stuff. I'd get bored doing that, but I had an interest, and instead of spending the money on a degree, I spent the money on the tools and went on the internet and learned how to do all this stuff. So that's my way of learning. I'd rather own the tools, which kind of sucks because in today's day and age, it's that damn piece of paper that people want. And honestly, hope you didn't see that. The head's fed out a little more line than I wanted it to. Now bear in mind, this is my 2-stroke bike mix, so it's like 20-to-1 mixture. That's why it's so smoky. But hey, fresh tank of fuel. It's already running, already idling. Got that classic steel sound, that ting, 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 ting at the idle. See that frickin' old bat don't know what he's talking about? Totally worth saving. You can go ahead and do the whole damn yard today if you wanted to. I don't. You can do it because it's raining, so, get to it. Just a little added extra. This was wound by the people at that service saw. I don't know what the hell you guys are doing. You work with weed whackers every day. You think you'd know how to wind a line, but this, I've got both lines joined together, crossing channels, and, I hate to be Hank Hill about it, but you guys are jackasses. Like, seriously, what the hell are you doing? Wow. You know, I told the guy that I probably know enough to work for him, and he just, like, made a lip curl. So, it's really quite simple. You just, you know, slowly take your time. They've got these little notches to hold the one bay so that you can finish the one and start on the other. And I honestly believe they put way too much there, too. Really good job, guys. Really good job, Chehalis Service Saw. That's a call out for you. This is why I can't work well with other people. It's not that I'm lazy or anything like that, but the last few real jobs I've had, if I told you guys stories, if any of you were actually willing to listen, you'd think I was making half the stuff up. You know, I've heard it said to never trust another man's reloads, you know, in regards to firearms, ammunition. I guess that goes for yard equipment too. Never trust another man's reloads. I just did. It didn't work out. And yeah, I went to this balded cap because for some reason I was having a threading problem with the new one. I don't know if they're different threading, so whatever, this one worked just fine. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to be able to like tap, excuse me, I think you're meant to be able to crank this up. Like, if I remember right, you're supposed to be able to take this off, put the two lines in, and then twist it, and it'll feed it. So maybe that's why it was all jacked up. I don't know. I went ahead and reloaded it the traditional way because I wasn't getting anywhere the other way, so that's fine. I gotta be honest, I kind of feel bad starting this thing because my neighbors, I'm afraid they're gonna hear it and recognize the sound of old Trusty here, and then, you know, get pissed off that it's working again or that the head's working. It's a pretty strong running machine. I kind of feel like if I'm ever going to use this thing around here, they better not be home, or, you know, it better just be one of those times where they're not paying attention. Because it's going to be pretty painful to see their old Trusty here working just fine. You know, they threw it away and all they had to do was spend 20 bucks to fix it. 25, 30, whatever. Not much, you know. So much like my Escort, much like all the other things I've fixed and revived, I am less money into it than it would have been buying something else. So yeah, I mean, there's always going to be those people out there that have their horror stories. I understand, you know, not everybody can fix something and not everybody gets lucky, but in more cases than not, in my personal experience, it's not necessarily worth buying something new when you've got a quality product just waiting to be saved. So that's my opinion on it. You know, do with that what you will.